Hello, so I made this video. I noticed some problems with the biggest of which was the I don't know what happened to the recording, but it got smushed. So let me just so yeah, for some reason the recording was all weird, and I think I put it on for too long, so I'm just gonna do this again. So what we have here is a system that can subtract two positive integers, one from another one. So, and the second positive integer can be less than or greater than, or equal to, of course, the first one. So, let's see. So, for example, we can, let's see, and this only works in binary. I'm gonna start working on a system that can convert base 10 to binary, but aside from that, right now this only works in binary. So let's say we have, for example, 5 minus, let's say 7. So 5 minus 7 should equal negative 2, which is correct. What this does, I've just got this one, this sends a signal out, which basically just says it's a negative number. And let me just show you how this kind of works, if you want. Just, I guess, well, actually, before that, I'll just show you another thing I've made, which is a little simpler to follow. This can add two positive integers, and I can actually make some modifications to both of these to make them work with subtraction, with negative integers. I've got a system figured out. I just need to make the alterations, but for now I'll just work with this in this video. So let's say 5 plus 7. Let's do that. 5 plus 7 would be that. So that should equal that is the that's the 1 2 4 8. So 8 plus 4 12, and 7 plus 5 is 12, so and of course it only works with binary due to binary digits. And this is very, okay, well, now that I've gotten into that, let me just show you how this one works, because this one's a lot simpler, a lot easier to recreate. And the thing I've been trying to go with this one is to make it, first of all, flat. I couldn't figure out a way to make this one flat, so I had to go up a little bit. But the objective with this one was to make it very flat and repeatable. This is perfectly repeatable. So like you can just add another one of these sections on to the end of it, and it would be able to add one bit more of numbers. So you can make a 64-bit one, but you probably have to go up a little bit, and that's kind of a pain. Well, I mean, I guess you could do that, but you can modify it a little bit. So the way this works is, first of all, we have two comparators right here, and then two repeaters that are running through two levers, and these are meant to be like connected to something else that will send the output once, because I'm currently working on a computer. This is just most of the parts that I'm gonna add up to. I'm gonna make a server and then put world editor and stuff like that. But okay. So what's happening here is we have two repeaters that send a signal. This one sends a signal through here. Now, since this has a signal strength, I'll turn on F3 for a second. Let me turn F1. No, F1 doesn't work with F3. I never noticed that. Okay, as you can see in kind of the top right corner, like a little below targeted block, it shows some information about the block. Now, one of the things is power. This is very important for the way the system works. The power on this block is 15. Power on this one is 14. That difference makes all the difference. Because what happens here is it sends a signal through here, okay? And then this one is activated, of course, and it actually activates with a signal strength of 15. This repeaters always have a signal strength of 15. Comparators have a signal strength of whatever's behind them, and then it can change depending on the one to like the left or right. But this signal strength of 14 is taken from this signal strength, which is actually 15. It works with this too. Exactly the same, but I like to keep it as a repeater. And and it okay, so there are two forms of the repeater, the comparator, sorry. One with this not ticked on and one with it ticked on. This is not supposed to be a resident tutorial, but I guess it is. So what's happening here is it takes, when this is ticked on, it will take the amount that's going through the left or right and subtract that from the amount that's going from the back. So what's happening here is it's subtracting 14 from 15, and that gets 1. Now, one signal strength, next one will be 0. But this allows for this repeater only to be activated, which, you know, then deactivates this entirely because 15 minus 15 is 0, so 0 signal strength here. But let's say we have only this one on, then this will not be disabled, and it will be able to send a signal through here. Now, this, without this little part, this is actually an XOR gate, but what I've done with it, kind of, well, I've modified it, is I've put a repeater here, which will send a signal through here if this one has 1. Now, what happens is, if this, let's say, if only this one's on, it will send a signal through here, but it's also able to send a signal through here. Now, what happens is it takes this signal strength of 15 and subtracts 13 from it, which gets a signal strength of 2. Then it subtracts 13 from this signal, so 2 minus 13 is below 0, and so it will give 0 signal strength. So what this does basically is, if both of them are on, it will send a signal through here. If both of them are off, it will not send a signal through either of them. And if one of them is on, it sends a signal through only one. Now that's the first part. And just the way I've done it, I've given a block of grab of 3. And you can repeat that first part pretty easily. That's the easiest part to repeat. But then they have to kind of connect, because 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So the way this works is, if this is on, it will go to the repeater, and it basically has the exact same system right here. But yeah, exactly, actually the exact same system. So if one of them is on, send a signal through here, because both of them are actually equal to 2, because if only one of these is on, then it will send a signal through there. And if both of these are on, it will send a signal through here. However, if both of them are on, it uses this little property I've given it with these two repeaters and these two redstone dust, and it basically, I guess, figures out if both of them are on, then it has to send a signal through here. And the cool thing about this is, if this actually sends a signal through, then that means this one could not be on, because only one of these two can be on at a time. So it sends a signal through here and basically kind of repeats the process. And yeah, it's pretty easily repeatable. Takes up a lot of length, but you can, I might be able to do something real quick, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that right now. I might do that later, making it go up. But yeah, it's a lot simpler than this thing, which I actually put a lot more time into this thing, but you know, basically okay. Well, first of all, let me show you what's going on the bottom, because that influences all of this. So, okay, well actually let me show you over here. What this does, because this is also important, it's basically this plus this. That's kind of what I did with this. So what this does is it subtracts. Now, the thing about this is you can only subtract numbers if the second number is less than the first number. It is dysfunctional without that being the case. So, let's say you wanted to subtract, I don't know, let's see, 7 minus 5. No, 5 minus 7. Let's do that again. Why not? 5 minus 7 would get all of these active, which is definitely not the right answer. So, the way I've worked around this is a thing you can do with math. Let's say you have a positive integer minus another positive integer. Then what you can do is, let's say you have, like 5 minus 7. If you flip those around and make the answer and multiply the answer of that by -1, then it will equal the same thing as if you were like subtracting it like by that. But basically what I've done here to simplify, oh, and this part. Now what this does, this is a bulkier version of the one I have under there, so I don't even use this anymore, and this one isn't dysfunctional. But what this basically does is it figures out which of the numbers is larger. So yeah, that's all it does, is it figures out which one's larger, like let's say A or B, which one's larger. Well, if both of them are on, it will be equal to, and let me just show you how this works. Now, I'm actually going to show you this one. It's a little more compact, although it's got a lot of stuff over it. But let me just, I forget that they removed that. I hate it. Oh wait, why am I doing G? I play too much of other things. God, I play on too many servers with like World Editor and all those plugins. But basically, how this works is it's just a more compact version of what's over here. And I'm just gonna give you what's over here. It's a little easier to see. So what's happening here is, as you can see, it's kind of it's similar to the subtraction and addition in the first part. So what happens is it sends a signal through. If this, but instead it gets you like, okay, so it will figure out if one of them is on and which one it is, or if both of them are on, it will send it no signal. If, yeah, basically it's kind of like a it's kind of like an XOR gate, kind of, yeah, kind of like an XOR gate, and that being except for the fact that it sends two different outputs for which one is actually on. But basically what's happening here is, and then like that's the simpler part. The second part, and this actually does need to be have a power of like only 14, because you know I didn't want to have to put repeaters all over here, so I just did that instead, and now I can, yeah, I mean I guess I can put it down like that, but yeah, what's happening here is, let's say one of these is on. It will disable this comparator. Well, not, yeah, it will disable it because, you know, this is signal strength of 14. 14 minus this would be a signal strength of 14 equals, yeah, 0. So it doesn't send a signal through. But what's happening is it sends a signal through here. And if this one is actually active, then it will disable that. Because, you know, obviously this wasn't active. But let's say it wasn't active, so so basically what's happening, let's say this one's active then. So what's happening here is sends a signal through, stops this from happening, stops this from actually sending a signal through, which allows for a signal to be sent through here. And because this is stopping the signal from being sent through, it can't activate any of these things. So, and then the one I have under there, I just made it a little more compact by like changing the second part of it. So I didn't need to have like this like weird gap that does nothing. I made it squeezed a little tighter than that, so I didn't use that. But basically, what's happening here is, so as I said, if you were like 7 minus 5, 5 minus 7 would be -2, but what happens is it gives a weird answer. So if you flip them around, which is what this top part does, it flips them around. So let's say these two are active, for example, then it will send a signal through here, up here, into a comparator. I mean, yeah, repeater, sorry, I'm confused. And then send a signal through here, and that enables this comparator. Now, why there's a comparator here is because of, well, well, I'll get to that in a second, but and then, yeah, this one, this one over here sends a signal through here, and that sends a signal to the block, and blah, 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 gets that. And this, the one on the bottom has not been, like, flipped around or anything, so it's the normal subtraction mechanics I have. Now, what's happening here is this undo here is figuring out which one is larger. So let's say this signal will only be sent through. Now what's happening here is the signal's being sent through, and that's actually activating this one, which basically tells me, yeah, that's a negative number. And then obviously -2 because I just added 2 of the same thing. But let's say I were to, this is minus, so add 32 to that, we get a bit of a bigger number. So let me make sure that's correct. I'll be showing you something that doesn't work. Let's see. That should be 0 plus 2, 4. Wait, no. What were we subtracting again? I think we are actually subtracting 2. What the heck? Let's see. We are currently. Let me just disable these two. And disable this one. And disable this one. And disable this one. And disable this one. Oh no, that one's disabled. Let's say 32 minus 4. No, that's plus 4. Minus 4. 32 minus 4 is going to get us that. Those ones are both not enabled because you haven't gotten there yet. The 4's place is going to be enabled. 8's 16. And why is this being enabled? It's because of the bottom. What's happening under here? Well, there might be a problem here. Sending signal through. That's getting disabled here. It should have been. Hold on. I don't need these trails. That was a decently large mistake, and I forgot to add those. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, yeah. That mistake is fixed. I believe. So yeah. Apparently 32 minus 4 is going to equal, I believe this is the 16th place, if I'm not mistaken. 16 plus that's the 8, that's the 4, so 20. 2. That's not right. Wait, what's happening? Hold on, let me figure out if there's a mistake and how bad it was. Make sure it's everything like that. Yeah, that's minus 4. There's something wrong here. Oh, I just misread it. Wait, what the heck? How's that? Doesn't look about right. Sending a signal through, but what is it? Oh. Why did I do that? Yeah, I'm being stupid right now. Okay. Make sure everything's looking correct. Yeah. So yeah, that's right, I believe that would be 32, 16 plus 8 plus 4. Yeah, that is correct, I believe. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, yeah. Just made a little issue in the machine. But, like, the way this works is, as you can see, this has been flipped around. So, it's basically, on the top row, it's doing, like, if the, let's say, the lower number minus it's giving the second number minus the first number, and on the bottom row it's giving the first number minus the second number. So how it determines which one it should do is first it figures out which one's larger. Now I only need it to figure out if the second one's larger, so that's why I'm only using this one, and that's why there's also not another thing that would be determining the other one. Because if there were, I think there's a few changes I would have to make. But yeah, but to make it more compact, I didn't do that. And yeah, I think I'll have to erase some things, maybe. I don't know. So, and it's pretty much useless. So what's happening is it will not send a signal through here, which means this torch is on, which means that the signal is going through here, which so then what's happening here is the redstone torch being on is sending a signal through this block, which, you know, sends a signal through here, and disables this redstone torch. And once it disables that redstone torch, it will not send a signal to this redstone torch, which means it will be on, and then this will be active. And what's happening when this is active is it's making it so it does not accept any signal going from here. And what's happening here is with this torch, it sends a signal up here, which, you know, stops these two. But since there's no signal, because, you know, this is active, it will not do that. Now, and that's basically kind of like how it works. And then there's subtraction parts, you know, and stuff. I made it, I think this is the way I did that was a little more compact, but, yeah. That's basically the extent of how this works. Yeah. Oh, and, yeah, just for fun's sake, this thing that I still haven't figured out why I'm gonna use it, but I decided to build. I don't know why I built this. Basically what this is, I think I'm just gonna make it be useful, is it's just meant to locate, like, which one is here. So, like, let's say you have a few different bits, like this is, what, 8 bits? Yeah, I made this 8 bits. Yeah. What happens is, it uses this little simple design for most of the stuff, except for, like, of course, redstone torches and this across system, which, you know, disables this comparator. Which is important, but basically how this works is it's meant to, like, locate, like, a certain little thing. I might use this for memory. I'm not sure, though. Probably not, to be honest. It seems like a sucky way to do it. But yeah. I hopefully will figure out a use for this behemoth of my time, because it took too long to make, to be honest. Yeah, that's, yeah, I don't have really much of a purpose at this time for it. Yeah. On next video, I'll try and make something that can multiply. I've got a system figured out for it, and maybe I'll be able to show you, like, if I can do negative numbers minus another negative number. Fun fact, negative minus negative is always is never gonna use this machine. It's always gonna use the adding machine. Negative minus a positive will, no wait, negative minus negative will use this subtraction machine. Sorry. And negative minus a positive will just use the addition machine. And positive minus a negative will also use the addition machine. So, yeah. I'm gonna be doing that, hopefully, next time. So, other than that, see you in the next video. Bye!